What's up? This is your man from the land of the long white cloud, Ron Plays Games, and I'm going to be bringing you this week's recap. Yeah, right. Okay, this isn't, it's not going too well for me here. Perhaps I'll do a little better at one of the new last man standing modes that have just been added. While you're in the lobby area, once Lisa's introduced you to the game, you'll see the new settings button on your head-up display. It'll open up a menu allowing you to choose your preferred game mode. There's a Zerka build with level 75 attack and 45 defense, or the 1D pure build with level 75 attack and 1 defense. When it's time for the action to begin, it'll have to choose one of the modes for the game. It'll do this by looking at the preferences of the waiting players. For example, if most of the waiting players had Zerka as their preferred mode, a few preferred max/med, and only one guy who chooses the 1D pure, the game would have a high chance of picking Zerka, a medium chance of picking max/med, and a tiny little chance of picking the 1D pure. Last man standing can still pick a random mode for a game, regardless of the preferences, so that there's more variety, and so that big groups or pesky bots won't skew it too heavily. You'll see the game mode announced as you arrive in the battle arena. The countdown duration has been increased, so you'll have a little more time to react. Now that you've got 3 different modes to prepare for, you'll want to set up your loadouts. Pop over to the supply chest in the lobby to configure them. Make sure to give the team a bell as well if you've got any suggestions for other items that could be included in the loadout. There's also the new ability to choose a spellbook. If your loadout for a game mode includes the rune pouch, it'll enable a selection of spells from whichever spellbook you selected for the mode. Standard with Surge spells and Entangle. You've got Ancient with Ice and Blood Blitz and Barrage. And then lastly, Lunar with Vengeance and Cure Me. These aren't the only game modes that players have requested for LMS, and there have been some pretty interesting suggestions for what else could be added in the future, such as a mode with no Protect prayers at all. So make sure you keep pestering the team with ideas. The default spellbook for the new modes will be Ancients. This may be changed in the future based on feedback. However, please note you can also change between spellbooks freely if there is a different option you prefer. Lunar spells will remain available to 1D pures as this is the case in the PvP arena. This week, the 3 Protect prayers have been made more effective. Damage is now reduced to 30%, up from 60%. So, if you got whacked for what should be 100 damage, you'll take 30 damage instead of 60 with the correct prayer. This is an experimental change designed to reward players who've taken the time to develop their switching skills. We're open to reverting the changes or rebalancing the buff, and we'll be monitoring feedback closely in the days following the update. The yellow notifications on the head-up display should no longer overlap with the buff bar in the clients. The buff bar should also stop showing the minigames ammo after you've left the battle arena. And although the supplies in the last man standing look pretty tasty, you probably didn't need warnings saying, "That item's valuable, are you sure?" whenever you try to drop some on the floor. Those warnings have been suppressed inside the minigame now. In the Dark Rock map, the starting positions for players have been updated. The game now uses pairs of spawn points rather than clumps of 6, making it a little more how the original Desert Island map spawns its fighters. Also, in the Dark Rock map, loot crates will now tend to spawn close to the final save zone. It's such a large map that they were often spawning in areas that the fog had already just reached. Loot chests and crates will now check what items you already have when deciding what to give you. No more aimless verbal abuse and proper stitch-ups as you get your 3rd pair of dragon claws. The loot chests and crates have some additions too. You can find an exact list of what items by clicking the link back to the original news post in the description below. There have been some further PvP changes this week. Some unintended behavior has been fixed where NPCs were initiating the PJ timer. This unintended behavior meant that an NPC hitting or tagging a player would prevent that player from being attacked for 12 seconds. This was causing players to karate chop their keyboards out of frustration in both PvP and PvM scenarios. In PvP, this behavior meant that an NPC hitting a player once in a single wave combat zone would give the player 12 seconds of immunity and therefore guarantee a cheeky logout. While this is a fix for unintended behaviors, we hope these examples give players all the information they need to make sure any would-be escapes aren't cut short by this fix. In PvM, this behavior meant that NPC A hitting a player once and then getting trapped behind the environment, such as rocks, or other NPCs would prevent NPC B from attacking the player for 12 seconds. These behaviors have been changed for NPCs to better reflect their mechanics before this change. Players attempting to teleport from the Revenant Caves while attacking the NPCs there will now have to wait about 1.2 seconds for their teleport spells to begin. This means no more cheeky teleporting to safety as soon as you see a little white dot appear on your minimap. The PvP rota has also been moved to Period B, which means the PvP world is UK based on World 560. The high risk PvP world is US based on World 579. The free-to-play PvP world is UK based on World 561. And the competitive LMS world has switched to World 580, which is US based. World 390 for the Aussies, oi oi oi, for competitive LMS has been deactivated with this rota. And the PvP arena is now actually using the max/mid loadouts and ranked tournaments this week, so get amongst. Some players have been asking what's left in Pole 76. When will it arrive so that the team can move on to organizing Pole 77? Well, with last week's update, there's only a couple of jobs before the work is actually complete. So hang tight, team. The development work for Poison Dynamite has been completed and the testing is almost complete too. The team, however, would like to run an internal play test before they bring it to an open beta for you all. Regarding clan halls, there's still a couple of upgrades left to make. Those being the combat ring and the party chest. These are still in development with special care being taken on the party chest to make sure it delivers the experience expected from it. Once this work is complete, it will need to go through more testing before being assigned a release date. Regarding some other changes, an issue with the pet insurance system that should now catch more situations in which pets should have been automatically insured has been fixed. The redemption prayer no longer leaves you with your prayer points draining even after that prayer has sent itself off. A couple of flowers adorning an Ardoin house were moved from their pots and planted into the ground, allowing passage. Sister Sanger no longer asks for a gamer's license from you. She will now reluctantly let you fight for Sani's nightmare without even having defeated the nightmare first, as long as you're assertive enough. Since the Clue Scroll Helper update, there have been a few reports of new bugs in mobile, which the team have squashed. They're still working on ironing out a few others, and if you'd like to see the full list, the link will be in the description below. The following bug fixes have launched last week, so they should already be fixed. Entity highlights are working as desktop highlights on mobile clients. New tooltip UI opens to the right and down, regardless of the screen position. And the top left text is appearing on mobile devices. Some other bits and pieces are being worked on, however the team can't give a date yet as to when they'll be fixed. These issues include the haptic feedback, such as vibrations no longer work on 207.2. Skill XP tooltips are still being displayed after switching tabs on mobile. The chat box can become unusable. External keyboards are having issues on iPads, and the Garden of Tranquility trolley does not update after placing a statue on it. A quick public service announcement before I log out of this recap. It's almost time to take holiday leave for work, break up with your significant other, and switch your phone to Do Not Disturb because Tombs of a Mascot is on the horizon, baby. Officially releasing on the 24th of August. Jagex have put together a nifty trailer to get you gamers pumped up. Hit the link in the description below to watch the rest of it. Alrighty lads and ladettes, that concludes this week's recap. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor keeping you gamers up to date. Uncle Rono signing off. See you next time.